deportation. Up with education. Down with deportation. Up with education. Down with deportation. Up with education. Down with deportation.
In our daily lives, we're still, like I hear in DC, we've got carjackings, we've got, people getting mugged in the middle of the day. So it
doesn't feel like crime is down.
Exactly.
In a lot of places.
It's great,
right?
But we should say, if murder rates are down, that is a good thing, right? But it is the crime that we interact with on a more day-to-day basis that I think makes us feel like it's not down. And I think that's the challenge. And the problem with talking about that at the presidential contest level is that's really about what's going on in cities and states. One of the things that President Biden did do is put more police on the streets. Kamala Harris was part of that. So, but that's having mixed effect, I think, in different communities.
Well, and the statistics did show that carjackings were one of the types of crime that did go up in 2023. The other thing, I think the reason why the feeling is because you saw a huge spike during COVID. And the fact is that we've seen a steady decline, but now crime is only about back to where it was in 2019, which is why I think that the vibes, the feeling is because we had this spike because of the pandemic.
Yeah, well, I mean, and Jonah, it matters not just what's going on in your own community, what you personally experience, but also what you read about, what you're consuming via news media or on TikTok on your phone. And there is, carjackings are one that, I get warnings to not rent certain classes of cars because they get stolen all the time.
We often hear that journalism is dead, but honestly, is it really dead, or is it so biased that people are willing to overlook the truth even when it's smacking them in the face? All right. At the beginning of this video, we had Kamala Harris chanting up with education, down with deportation, thus revealing her true beliefs on borders and border security. But of course, since becoming the nominee, she has completely flip-flopped, saying, I'm all about border security now, and I will even build a wall. Okay. But the media is not going to call her on this, right? They're not going to ask the tough questions and then hound her for follow-ups, because that's not what they do, because they are on her side. And as we just saw in that last segment over on CNN, the journalists were willing to overlook the crime they are seeing in their daily lives because Kamala Harris has come out and said, hey, the FBI is actually saying that crime is down under the Biden-Harris administration. But of course, we know that this is a factual lie, because the FBI has their new rollout, their new plan for how you actually report crime. And 1/3 of all police precincts in America do not use it. So it's easy to say that crime is falling when it's not being reported. But of course, Kamala Harris is going to go ahead and tout this, and the journalists either don't know or they're running cover about it, neither of which is acceptable. Okay. But one of the things I find funny is to get honest reporting about America, sometimes you have to go outside of America. As we can see over here from the Daily Mail, we have a hilarious article. Kamala Harris said she worked her butt off under ex-lover Mayor Willie Brown, but new information about her time there reveals the truth. So as we know, Kamala Harris got her start in politics basically being Willie Brown's girlfriend. And as his girlfriend, he put her on the committees of several profitable organizations in California. Let's dig into this article a little bit because it's very revealing. Kamala Harris was frequently absent for California Medical Assistance Commission meetings, even though she was appointed to the position by her boyfriend at the time and then Assembly Speaker Willie Brown. Harris and Brown dated for about a year when she was a 29-year-old lawyer for the Alameda District Attorney's Office, and he was the powerful speaker who ran for mayor of San Francisco at the age of 60. Brown appointed Harris to the CMAC position in 1994. Drawing some criticism for impropriety despite Brown's willingness to publicly flaunt accusations of political patronage. Harris had already served 6 months under the Unemployment Insurance Appeals Board, a job that paid $97,000 a year annually, but resigned to take the new position with CMAC. It's unclear why Harris missed so many meetings, as she took leave from her job as the Alameda County District Attorney's Office, according to the Los Angeles Times. Okay, so this is truly amazing. Harris was absent for more than 20% of the meetings, according to the Daily Mail. All right. So we had 111 CMAC meetings and Harris was gone for 23 of them. So we're supposed to trust Harris, who says she was never given anything. She earned all she got. As a matter of fact, she worked her butt off. I bet you did, Kamala. The job required the board members to meet twice a month, as it was not a full-time position, and the commission was responsible for negotiating contracts with hospitals to limit costs paid by government-funded healthcare. But it still paid Harris a great deal of money, $99,000 annually. So basically, she couldn't even work up the gumption to show up twice a month and collect that $99,000 a year salary, right? Yeah, never given anything my butt. Now, of course, these were the stepping stones that allowed her to run for DA in San Francisco and eventually win. But she had to get that name recognition, and most importantly, she needed the seal of approval from Willie Brown himself. So yeah, she's a completely self-made woman in her own mind. However, there have, of course, been recent polls coming out showing how people aren't buying into this whole Kamala Harris narrative. Let's go ahead and check this out.
Yeah, so Harry, as I said, honestly, when we hear there's new polling from Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, the viewers, they want to know what it means, what it says, and what you think about it. So what does it say, first of all?
Let's see if I can live up to the hype of this. All right. Look, you got a lot of red on the screen. This is pretty good news for Donald Trump. This is the Harris versus Trump margin, unrounded margin. Look at this. In Arizona, Donald Trump up 5. In Georgia, up 4, though no clear leader. North Carolina, a similar story. Donald Trump up 3. Again, no clear leader. But you take it all together, in these 3 key battleground states, 2 of which Joe Biden carried 4 years ago, we see that Donald Trump is ahead, and by an average of 4 points, significantly better than he did back in 2020 across all of these states.
One area to look at for Trump is he's shown some growth in the polls relative to 2020 and 2016 among non-white voters. Now, among black voters, what you're looking at here, this is our average of all the different polls that are out there right now. And on average, Trump's sitting in the mid-teens there among black voters. Now, again, these numbers will bounce around from poll to poll, so it's a little bit hard to nail down. But we could say, historically speaking, if anything like this were to play out in the election, 15% for a Republican among black voters in a presidential election would be at the very high end of what we've seen in modern times. And that, it's small, but that could boost Trump in a state like Georgia, a state like North Carolina, a state with a large black population. Just that kind of improvement from the mid-high single digits to the mid-teens. And then among Hispanic voters, this was a very big story in 2020, of course. Trump made big strides with Hispanic voters. Well, again, you're looking at our average of all the polls right now among Hispanic voters. Harris 54, Trump 41. Again, if this were to be what actually played out in the election, that would represent further progress, further growth for Trump among Hispanic voters. You start thinking about in Arizona, Nevada, this would come into play, though certainly in Georgia as well, 10% Hispanic there. So again, this would represent growth for Trump. We talk about, is he locked in based on 16 and 20? Here are 2 demographic groups, particularly Hispanics, where he has shown some improvement from the last time around.
So despite all of the media malpractice and all the left-leaning polls, they still can't deny that Donald Trump is doing unprecedentedly well among certain voter groups, much better than Republicans have in the past. And he's doing much better against Kamala Harris in 2024 than he did against Joe Biden in 2020. And we all know how that one turned out, right? Of course, here's the main takeaway. What are the biggest issues of the day? What do voters care about most? And those are the issues that Donald Trump actually leads on. Even according to the latest New York Times Siena Poll, we can see over here that, yes, immigration is a big and emotive topic that plainly helps Republicans. Trump held a 12-point advantage on the topic in the Times poll. And perhaps crucially, Trump was 13 points clear in the Times poll on the economy. That's roughly in line with other surveys that give the former president the advantage on the topic that often ranks highest among voters' concerns. And also, don't forget, Trump is seen as the law and order candidate. So all of this is coming together very nicely for him. Even these leftist polls can't hide it. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and stay safe out there, people, because they're coming after you.